Boom! I'm Thundercloud here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, and part of my mission statement is to preserve poetry, not just Australian poetry, but all poetry. And today I've been fortunate to receive this donation of the poetry of William Blake, read by Sir Ralph Richardson, from Steve down at the tip shop in Armidale. So someone's thrown this out, and I'm going to play that for you. So for the introduction, I'll go through it and I'll read out the blurb on the back. So this, the poetry of William Blake, it's read by Sir Ralph Richardson and directed by Sackler. This was published by Caedmon Literary Series, TC 1101. And so William Blake was as much an artist as a poet, and by the time he was 51 years old, he'd completed his entire body of poetry and had turned back to art. But never were art and poetry so closely fused in any man's nature, and never were they both expressed by the same man with such ease and perfection. Blake's lyricism is visual. His images are bold and compelling, that we can believe that many of his poetic visions, such as I saw a chapel all of gold, that none did dare to enter in, and many were weeping, stood without weeping, mourning, worshipping, were a matter not of convention but of conviction. Blake did actually see. The child who told his mother that he'd seen the prophet Ezekiel in the garden grew up to be a man who did a series of visionary heads, which were drawings of King Solomon and other legendary heroes, and even of the ghost of a flea. The songs of Innocence and songs of Experience embody some of this mysticism, but their chief beauty lies in their sweet lyricism and unalloyed simplicity. Each poem is economically stated, consistent in tone and language, and each calls up an image or series of images, both sensuous and compelling. But the same man who could turn out such poems was also a proud, almost fanatical crusader, and made axe strokes with his lines as in The Mental Traveller. Deceit and villainy were abhorrent to him, but so also were good many more complex attitudes and philosophies, about which he raged like a prophet of old. He could be as violent about Locke and Voltaire as any fundamentalist might be about sin. With his satiric pen dripping bitterness, he could write off any right of a benefactor. Of Haley's birth, this was a happy lot, his mother and on his father him begot. Part of Blake's poetic equipment was an elaborate set of symbolic images derived from his own complex philosophy. Antedating Freud, Blake gave full importance to men's suppressed desires, which in his philosophy led to a mother or mother nature principle and to a quest for the womb, symbolised as a golden chapel, a crystal cabinet, or some other image. An ardent foe of Puritanism, he pitted those deterred by its rigours from physical love, the mystical release of the body from its earthly bondage. And above all, the arch foe of Blake was system, the organisational mechanism which binds mankind to earth when he should be loosed for heaven. All systems, even those of organised religion, were anathema to Blake. But essentially, the man of mingled pride and humility, was of fierce antagonisms and gutsy buffoonery, was a poet who painted in words and in colours. Today we're drawn to him by his idiosyncratic loneliness, an appealing trait in a world of conformity, but most of all by his simple lyric gift, among the best in English literature. So I'll play you side one and I'll read you out the titles of side one, and then I'll come back and read you the titles of side two before I turn the record over. So side one, we've got 4 from Songs of Innocence. 1, Introduction, The Echoing Green, The Lamb, The Sheppard, Infant Joy. Band 2, Little Black Boy, Spring, Nurse's Song, Holy Thursday, The Blossom. Band 3, The Chimney Sweeper, The Divine Image, Night. Band 4, On Another's Sorrow, The Little Boy Lost, The Little Boy Found. Then also on side 1, Songs of Experience, Band 5, Introduction, Earth's Answer, The Nurse's Song, The Fly. And Band 6, The Little Girl Lost, The Little Girl Found, The Clod, and The Pebble. Okay, so let's get this underway and I'll read you the rest later. And if you like this, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and comment if you like it, what you like, and if you want to hear me read out other poetry, well, leave a comment there too. Don't forget to subscribe, click on that notifications bell so that you get notified when I upload new videos of famous poetry. Yeah. Okay, here we go. The poetry of William Blake, read by Sir Ralph Richardson.
Piping down the valleys wild, piping songs of pleasant glee, on a cloud I saw a child, and he, laughing, said to me, "Pipe a song." So I piped with merry cheer. "Piper, pipe." So I piped. He wept to hear. "Drop thy pipe, thy happy pipe, sing thy songs of happy cheer." So I sang the same again, while he wept with joy to hear. "Piper, sit thee down and all may read." So he vanished from my sight, and I plucked a hollow reed, and I made a rural pen, and I stained the water clear, and I wrote my happy songs, every child made joy to hear. The sun does arise and make happy the skies. The merry bells ring to welcome the spring. The skylark and thrush, the birds of the bush, sing louder around to the bell's cheerful sound, while on the echoing green old John does laugh away care sitting under the oak among the old folk. They now say, such for the joys when we all, girls and boys, eat out on the echoing green, till the little ones, weary, no more can be merry. The sun does descend, and our sports have an end. Round the laps of their mothers, many sisters and brothers, like birds in their nest, are ready for rest, and sport no more seen on the darkening green. Little lamb, who made thee? Dost thou know who made thee? Gave thee life, and bid thee feed by the stream and o'er the mead. Gave thee clothing of delight, softest clothing, woolly, bright. Gave thee such a tender voice, making all the vales rejoice. Little lamb, who made thee? Dost thou know who made thee? Little lamb, I'll tell thee. Little lamb, I'll tell thee. He is called by thy name, for he calls himself a lamb. He is meek, and he is mild, he became a little child. I a child, and thou a lamb, we are called by his name. Little lamb, God bless thee. Little lamb, God bless thee. How sweet is the shepherd's sweet lot! From the morn to the evening he strays. He shall follow his sheep all the day, and his tongue shall be filled with praise. For he hears the lamb's innocent call, and he hears the ew's tender reply. He is watchful while they are in peace, for they know when their shepherd is nigh. I have no name. I am but 2 days old. What shall I call thee? I happy am, Joy is my name. Sweet joy befall thee. Pretty joy, sweet joy, but 2 days old. Sweet joy I call thee. Thou dost smile, I sing the while. Sweet joy befall thee. My mother bore me in the southern wild, and I am black, but oh, my soul is white. White as an angel is the English child, but I am black, as if bereaved of light. My mother taught me underneath a tree, and sitting down before the heat of day, she took me on her lap and kissing me, and pointing to the east, began to say, look on the rising sun. There God does live, and gives his light, and gives his heat away. And flowers, and trees, and beasts, and men receive comfort in morning, joy in the noonday. And we are put on earth a little space, that we may learn to bear the beams of love. And these black bodies and this sunburnt face is but a cloud, and like a shady grove. For when our souls have learnt the heat to bear, the cloud will vanish. We shall hear his voice saying, come out from the grove, my love and care, and round my golden tent like lambs rejoice. Thus did my mother say, and kissed me, and thus I say to little English boy, when I from black, and he from white cloud free, and round the tent of God like lambs with joy, I'll shade him from the heat, till he can bear to lean in joy upon our Father's knee. And then I'll stand and stroke his silver hair, and be like him, and he will then love me. Sound the flute, now it's mute. Birds delight day and night, nightingale in the dale, lark in sky, merrily, merrily, merrily to welcome in the year. Little boy full of joy, little girl sweet and small, cock does crow, so do you. Merry voice, infant noise, merrily, merrily to welcome in the year. Little lamb, here I am, come and lick my white neck. Let me pull your soft wool, let me kiss your soft face. Merrily, merrily, we welcome in the year. When the voices of children are heard on the green, and laughing is heard on the hill, my heart is at rest within my breast, and everything else is still. Then come home, my children, the sun is gone down, and the dews of night arise. Come, come, leave off play, and let us away till the morning appears in the sky. No, no, let us play, for it is yet day, and we cannot go to sleep. Besides, in the sky the little birds fly, and the hills are all covered with sheep. Well, well, go and play till the light fades away, and then go home to bed. And the little ones leaped and shouted and laughed, and all the hills echoing. "'Twas on a holy Thursday, their innocent faces clean, the children walking two and two in red and blue and green. Grey-headed beetles walked before, with wands as white as snow, till into the high dome of Paul's they like Thames waters flow. Oh, what a multitude they seemed, these flowers of London town. Seated in companies they sit with radiance all their own. The hum of multitudes was there, but multitudes of lambs, thousands of little boys and girls raising their innocent hands. Now like a mighty wind they raised to heaven the voice of song. or like harmonious thunderings the seats of heaven among. Beneath them sit the aged men, wise guardians of the poor. Then cherish pity, lest you drive an angel from your door. Merry, merry sparrow, under leaves so green, a happy blossom sees you swift as arrow, seek your cradle narrow near my bosom. Pretty, pretty robin, under leaves so green, a happy blossom hears you song, pretty robin, near my bosom. When my mother died, I was very young, and my father sold me, while yet my tongue could scarcely cry, weep, 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 weep. So your chimneys I sweep, and in soot I sleep. There's little Tom Dacre, who cried when his head, that curled like a lamb's back, was shaved. So I said, hush, Tom, never mind it, for when your head's bare, you know that the soot cannot spoil your white hair. And so he was quiet. And that very night, as Tom was asleeping, he had such a sight. The thousands of sweepers, Dick, Joe, Ned and Jack, were all of them locked up in coffins of black. And by came an angel who had a bright key, and he opened the coffins and set them all free. Then down a green plain leaping, laughing they run, and wash in the river and shine in the sun. Then, naked and white, all their bags left behind, they rise upon clouds and sport in the wind. And the angel told Tom, if he'd be a good boy, he'd have God for his father and never want joy. And so Tom awoke. And we rose in the dark and got with our bags and our brushes to work. Though the morning was cold, Tom was happy and warm. So if all do their duty, they need not fear harm. To mercy, pity, peace, and love, all pray in their distress, and to these virtues of delight return their thankfulness. For mercy, pity, peace, and love is God, our Father dear, and mercy, pity, peace, and love is man, his child and care. For mercy has a human heart, pity a human face, and love the human form divine, and peace the human dress. Then every man of every clime that prays in his distress, prays to the human form divine, love, mercy, pity, peace. And all must love the human form, in heathen, Turk, or Jew. Where mercy, love, and pity dwell, there God is dwelling too. The sun descending in the west, the evening star does shine. The birds are silent in their nest, and I must seek for mine. The moon, like a flower in heaven's high bower, with silent delight sits and smiles on the night. Farewell, green fields and happy groves, where flocks have took delight. Where lambs have nibbled, silent moves the feet of angels bright. Unseen they pour blessing and joy without ceasing on each bud and blossom and each sleeping bosom. They look in every thoughtless nest where birds are covered warm. They visit caves of every beast to keep them all from harm. If they see any weeping that should have been sleeping, they pour sleep on their head and sit down by their bed. When wolves and tigers howl for prey, they pitying stand and weep, seeking to drive their thirst away and keep them from the sheep. But if they rush dreadful, the angels, most heedful, receive each mild spirit, new worlds to inherit. And there the lion's ruddy eyes shall flow with tears of gold, and pitying the tender cries, and walking round the fold, saying, wrath by his meekness, and by his health, Sickness is driven away from our immortal day. And now beside thee, bleating lamb, I can lie down and sleep, or think on him who bore thy name, graze after thee and weep. For, washed in life's river, my bright mane forever shall shine like the gold as I guard o'er the fold. Can I see another's woe and not be in sorrow too? Can I see another's grief and not seek for kind relief? Can I see a falling tear and not feel my sorrow share? Can a father see his child weep, nor be with sorrow filled? Can a mother sit and hear an infant groan, an infant fear? No, no, never can it be, never, never can it be. And can he who smiles on all hear the wren with sorrows small, hear the small bird's grief and care, hear the woes that infants bear, and not sit beside the nest, pouring pity in their breast, and not sit the cradle near, weeping tear on infant's tear, and not sit both night and day, wiping all our tears away? Oh, no, never can it be, never, never can it be. He doth give his joy to all. He becomes an infant small. He becomes a man of woe. He doth feel the sorrow too. Think not thou canst sigh a sigh, and thy Maker is not by. Think not thou canst weep a tear, and thy Maker is not near. Oh, he gives to us his joy, that our grief he may destroy. Till our grief is fled and gone, he doth sit by us and moan. Father, Father, where are you going? Oh, do not walk so fast. Speak, Father, speak to your little boy, or else I shall be lost. The night was dark. No father was there. The child was wet with dew. The mire was deep, and the child did weep, and away the vapor flew. The little boy, lost on the lonely fen, led by the wandering light, began to cry, but God, ever nigh, appeared like his father in white. He kissed the child, and by the hand led, and to his mother brought, who in sorrow pain, through the lonely day, her little boy weeping sought. Hear the voice of the bard, who present, past, and future sees, whose ears have heard the holy word that walked among the ancient trees, calling the lapsed soul, and weeping in the evening dew, that might control the starry pole, and fallen, fallen light renew. O earth, return, arise from out the dewy grass. Night is worn, and the morn rises from the slumberous mass. Turn away no more. Why wilt thou turn away? The starry floor, the watery shore, is given thee till break of day. Earth raised up her head from the darkness dread and drear. Her light fled, stony dread, and her locks covered with grey despair. Prisoned on watery shore, starry jealousy doth keep my den. Cold and hoar, weeping o'er, I hear the father of the ancient men. Selfish father of men, cruel, jealous, selfish fear, can delight, chained in night, the virgins of youth and morning bear. Does spring hide its joy when buds and blossoms grow? Does the sower sow by night, or the ploughman in darkness plough? Break this heavy chain that does freeze my bones around. Selfish, vain, eternal bane, that free love with bondage bound. When the voices of children are heard on the green, and whisperings are in the days of my youth rise fresh in my mind, my face turns green and pale. Then come home, my children, the sun is gone down, and the dews of night arise. Your spring and your day are wasted in play, and your winter and night in disguise. Little fly, thy summer's play my thoughtless hand has brushed away. Am not I a fly like thee, or art not thou a man like me? For I dance and drink and sing till some blind hand shall brush my wing. If thought is life and strength and breath, and the want of thought is death, then am I a happy fly, if I live or if I die. In futurity I prophetic see that the earth from sleep, grave the sentence deep, shall arise and seek for her maker meek, and the desert wild become a garden mild. In the southern clime where the summer's prime never fades away, lovely Lyca lay. 7 summers old, lovely Lyca told. She had wandered long, hearing wild birds' song. Sweet sleep, come to me underneath this tree. Do father, mother weep? Where can Lyca sleep? Lost in desert wild is your little child. How can Lyca sleep if her mother weep? If her heart does ache, then let Lyca wake. If my mother sleep, Lyca shall not weep. Frowning, frowning night, o'er this desert bright, let thy moon arise while I close my eyes. Sleeping Lyca lay, while the beasts of prey come from caverns deep, viewed the maid asleep. The kingly lion stood, and the virgin viewed. Then he gamboled round o'er the hallowed ground. Leopards, tigers play round her as she lay, while the lion old bowed his mane of gold, and her bosom licked, and upon her neck from his eyes of flame ruby tears there came. While the lioness loosed her slender dress, and naked they conveyed to caves the sleeping maid. All the night in woe, Lyca's parents go over valleys deep, while the deserts weep. Tired and woe-begone, hoarse with making moan, arm in arm 7 days they trace the desert ways. 7 nights they sleep among shadows deep, and dream they see their child starved in desert wild. Pale, through pathless ways the fancied image strays, perish, weeping, weak, with hollow, piteous shriek. Rising from unrest, the trembling woman pressed with feet of weary woe. She could no further go. In his arms he bore her, armed with sorrow sore, till before their way a couching lion lay. Turning back was vain. Soon his heavy mane bore them to the ground. Then he stalked around, smelling to his prey. But their fears allay when he licks their hands and silent by them stands. They look upon his eyes filled with deep surprise, and wondering behold a spirit armed in gold. On his head a crown, on his shoulders down flowed his golden hair. Gone was all their care. Follow me, he said, weep not for the maid, in my palace deep, Lyca lies asleep. Then they followed where the vision led, and saw their sleeping child among tigers wild. To this day they dwell in a lonely dell, nor fear the wolfish howl, nor the lion's growl. Love seeketh not itself to please, nor for itself hath any care, but for another gives it ease, and builds a heaven in hell's despair. So sang a little clod of clay, trodden with the cattle's feet. But a pebble of the brook warbled out these meters meet. Love seeketh only self to please, to bind another to its delight, joys in another's loss of ease, and builds a hell in heaven's despite.
Well, it's easy to hear why he's such a good poet. Such beautiful poetry. Alright, well that's side one. Here we go for the B side. And poetry on the B side, is side two. So, Songs of Experience continued. Band one, The Tiger. It's probably one of his more famous poems. I think that's, if that's Tiger, Tiger Burning Bright. Then A Poison Tree, The Angel, The Sick Rose, A Voice of the Ancient Bard, My Pretty Rose Tree, Sunflower. Band 2, The Garden of Love, A Little Boy Lost, Infant Sorrow, The Schoolboy, London, A Divine Image. Band 3, The Mental Traveller. Band 4, Mock On, Voltaire, Rousseau. Band 5, I Asked a Thief to Steal Me a Peach. Band 6, I Saw a Chapel All of Gold. Band 7, Auguries of Innocence. Band 8, To the Muses. 9, Oh, I Say, You, Joe. Band 10, The Crystal Cabinet. And finally 11, And Did Those Feet in Ancient Time, from Milton. Okay, so here we go, the second half of the album, The Poetry of Blake, read by Sir Ralph Richardson, here on the Caedmon Literary Series. And we'll lift that needle up. And apologies for a few bumps because the record's not exactly flat. Here goes.
Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what more eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? And what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread feet? What the hammer? What the chain? In what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil? What dread grasp dare its deadly terrors clasp?
When the stars and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he make thee? Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immort dare frame thy fearful symmetry? I was angry with my friend. I told my wrath did ebb. I was angry with my foe. I told it not. My wrath did grow. And I watered it in fears, night and morning with my tears. And I sullied it with smiles, and with soft, deceitful wiles. And it grew both day and night, till it bore an apple bright. And my foe beheld it shine, and he knew that it was mine. And into my garden stole, when the night had veiled the pole. In the morning glad I see my foe outstretched beneath the tree. I dreamt a dream. What can it mean? And that I was a maiden queen, guarded by an angel mild. Witless woe was ne'er beguiled. And I wept both night and day, and he wiped my tears away. And I wept both day and night, and hid from him my heart's delight. So he took his wings and fled. Then the morn blushed rosy red. I dried my tears, and armed my fears with 10,000 shields and spears. Soon my angel came again. I was armed, he came in vain. For the time of youth was fled, and grey hairs were on my head. O Rose, thou art sick, the invisible worm that flies in the night, in the howling storm, has found out thy bed of crimson joy, and his dark secret love does thy life destroy. Youth of delight, come hither and see the opening morn, image of truth newborn. Doubt is fled, and clouds of reason, dark disputes and artful teasing. Folly is an endless maze, tangled roots perplex her ways. How many have fallen there? They stumble all night over bones of the dead, and feel they know not what but care, and wish to lead others when they should be led. A flower was offered to me, such a flower as May never bore. But I said, I've a pretty rose tree, and I pass it the sweet flower o'er. Then I went to my pretty rose tree, to tend her by day and by night. But my rose turned away with jealousy, and her thorns were my only delight. Ah, sunflower, weary of time, who countest the steps of the sun, seeking after that sweet golden climb where the traveler's journey is done, where the youth pined away with desire, and the pale virgin shrouded in snow arise from their graves and aspire where my sunflower wishes to go. I went to the garden of love and saw what I never had seen. A chapel was built in the midst, where I used to play on the green, and the gates of this chapel were shut, and "Thou shalt not" writ over the door. So I turned to the garden of love that so many sweet flowers bore, and I saw it was fitted with graves, and tombstones where flowers should be, and priests in black gowns were walking their rounds, and binding with briars
my joys and desires. Naught loves another as itself, nor venerates another so, nor is it possible to thought a greater than itself to know. And, Father, how can I love you or any of my brothers more? I love you like the little bird that picks up crumbs around the door. The priest sat by and heard the child. In trembling zeal he seized his hand. He led him by his little coat, and all admired the priestly care. And standing on an altar high, "Lo, what a fiend is here," said he, "one who sets reason up for judge of our most holy mystery." The weeping child could not be heard. The weeping parents wept in vain. They stripped him to his little shirt and bound him in an iron chain, and burned him in a holy place where many had been burned before. The weeping parents wept in vain. Are such things done on Albion's shore? My mother groaned, my father wept. Into the dangerous world I leapt, helpless, naked, piping loud, like a fiend hid in a cloud. Struggling in my father's hands, striving against my swaddling bands, bound and weary, I thought best to sulk upon my mother's breast. I love to rise in a summer morn when the birds sing on every tree. The distant huntsman winds his horn and the skylark sings with me. Oh, what sweet company! But to go to school in a summer morn, oh, it drives all joy away. Under a cruel eye outworn, the little ones spend the day in sighing and dismay. How can the bird that is born for joy sit in a cage and sing? How can a child, when fears annoy, but droop his tender wing and forget his youthful spring? Oh, father and mother, if buds are nipped and blossoms blown away, and if the tender plants are stripped of their joy in the springing day by sorrow and care's dismay, how shall the summer arise in joy, or the summer fruits appear? Or how shall we gather what griefs destroy, or bless the mellowing year when the blasts of winter appear? I wander through each chartered street, near where the chartered Thames does flow, and mark in every face I meet marks of weakness, marks of woe. In every cry of every man, in every infant's cry of fear, in every voice, in every band, the mind-forged manacles I hear. How the chimney sweepers cry, every blackening church appalls, and the hapless soldier's sigh runs in blood down palace walls. But most through midnight streets I hear how the youthful harlot's curse blasts the newborn infant's tear and blights with plagues the marriage hearse. Cruelty has a human heart, and jealousy a human face, terror the human form divine, and secrecy the human dress. The human dress is forged iron, the human form a fiery forge, the human face a furnace sealed, the human heart its hungry gorge. I travelled through a land of men and women too, and heard and saw such dreadful things as cold earth wanderers never knew. For there the babe is born in joy that was begotten in dire woe, just as we reap in joy the fruit which we in bitter tears did sow. And if the babe is born a boy, he's given to a woman old, who nails him down upon a rock,
catches his shrieks in cups of gold. She binds iron thorns around his head. She pierces both his hands and feet. She cuts his heart out at his side to make it feel both cold and heat. Her fingers number every nerve, just as a miser counts his gold. She lives upon his shrieks and cries, and she grows young as he grows old, till he becomes a bleeding youth, and she becomes a virgin bright. Then he rends up his manacles and binds her down for his delight. He plants himself in all her nerves, just as a husbandman his mould, and she becomes his dwelling place, and garden fruitful 70-fold. An aged shadow, soon he fades, wandering round an earthly cot, fulfilled all with gems and gold, which he by industry had got. And these are the gems of the human soul, the rubies and pearls of a lovesick eye, the countless gold of the aching heart, the martyr's groan and the lover's sigh. They are his meat, they are his drink. He feeds the beggar and the poor and the wayfaring traveller. Forever open is his door. His grief is their eternal joy. They make the roofs and walls to ring, till from the fire on the hearth a little female babe does spring. And she is all of solid fire and gems and gold, that none his hand dares stretch to touch her baby form or wrap her in his swaddling band. But she comes to the man she loves, if young or old, or rich or poor. They soon drive out the aged host, a beggar at another's door. He wanders weeping far away, until some other take him in, oft blind and age-bent, sore distressed, until he can a maiden win. And to allay his freezing age, the poor man takes her in his arms. The cottage fades before his sight, the garden and its lovely charms. The guests are scattered through the land, for the eye altering alters all. The senses roll themselves in fear, and the flat earth becomes a ball. The stars, sun, moon, all shrink away, a desert vast without a bound, and nothing left to eat or drink, and a dark desert all around. The honey of her infant lips, the bread and wine of her sweet smile, the wild game of her roving eye, does him to infancy beguile. For as he eats and drinks, he grows younger and younger every day, and on the desert wild they both wander in terror and dismay. Like a wild stag she flees away, her fear plants many a thicket wild, while he pursues her night and day, by various arts of love beguiled, by various arts of love and hate, till the wide desert planted o'er with labyrinths of wayward love, where roam the lion, wolf, and boar, till he becomes a wayward babe, and she a weeping woman old. Then many a lover wanders here, the sun and stars are nearer rolled. The trees bring forth sweet ecstasy to all who in the desert roam, till many a city there is built, and many a pleasant shepherd's home. But when they find the frowning babe, terror strikes through the region wide. They cry, "The babe! The babe is born!" and flee away on every side. For who dare touch the frowning form? His arm is withered to its root. Lions, boars, wolves, all howling flee, and every tree does shed its fruit. And none can touch that frowning form, except it be a woman old. She nails him down upon the rock, and all is done as I have told. Mock on, Voltaire, Rousseau, Mock on, 'tis all in vain. You throw the sand against the wind, and the wind blows it back again. And every sand becomes a gem reflected in the beams divine. Blown back they blind the mocking eye, but still in Israel's paths they shine. The atoms of Democritus and Newton's particles of light are sands upon the Red Sea shore, where Israel's tents do shine so bright. I asked the thief to steal me a peach. He turned it up his eyes. I asked the lithe lady to lie her down. Holy and meek, she cried. As soon as I went, an angel came. He winked at the thief and smiled at the dame, and without one word said, had a peach from the tree, and still as a maid, enjoyed the lady. I saw a chapel all of gold, that none did dare to enter in, and many weeping stood without, weeping, mourning, worshipping. I saw a serpent rise between the white pillars of the door, and he forced and forced and forced, down the golden hinges tore, and along the pavement sweet, set with pearls and rubies bright, all his shining length he drew, till upon the altar white, vomiting his poison out on the bread and on the wine. So I turned into a sty and laid me down among the swine. To see a world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wild flower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour. A robin redbreast in a cage puts all heaven in a rage. A dove house filled with doves and pigeons shudders hell through all its regions. A dog starved at his master's gate predicts the ruin of the state. A horse misused upon the road calls to heaven for human blood. Each outcry of the hunted hare a fibre from the brain does tear. A skylark wounded in the wing a cherubim does cease to sing. The gamecock, clipped and armed for fight, does the rising sun affright. Every wolf's and lion's howl raises from hell a human soul. The wild deer, wandering here and there, keeps the human soul from care. The lamb misused breeds public strife, and yet forgives the butcher's knife. He who shall hurt the little wren shall never be beloved by men. He who the ox to wrath hath moved shall never be by woman loved. The wanton boy that kills the fly shall feel the spider's enmity. He who torments the chafer's sprite weaves a bower in endless night. The caterpillar on the leaf repeats to thee thy mother's grief. Kill not the moth nor butterfly, for the last judgment draweth nigh. He who shall train the horse to war shall never pass the polar bar. The beggar's dog and widow's cat, feed them, and thou wilt grow fat. The bat that flits at close of eve has left the brain that won't believe. The owl that calls upon the night speaks the unbeliever's fright. The gnat that sings his summer's song poison gets from slander's tongue. The poison of the snake and newt is the sweat of envy's foot. The poison of the honeybee is the artist's jealousy. A truth that's told with bad intent beats all the lies you can invent. Joy and woe are woven fine, a clothing for the soul divine. Under every grief and pine runs a joy with silken twine. It is right it should be so. Man was made for joy and woe. And when this we rightly know, through the world we safely go. The babe is more than swaddling bands. Throughout all these human lands, tools were made and born were hands. Every farmer understands. Every tear from every eye becomes a babe in eternity. This is caught by females bright and returned to its own delight. The bleat, the bark, bellow and roar are waves that beat on heaven's shore. The babe that weeps the rod beneath writes revenge in realms of death. He who mocks the infant's faith shall be mocked in age and death. He who shall teach the child to doubt the rotting grave shall ne'er get out. He who respects the infant's faith triumphs over hell and death. The child's toys and the old man's reasons are the fruits of the two seasons. The questioner, who sits so sly, shall never know how to reply. He who replies to words of doubt doth put the light of knowledge out. A riddle, or the cricket's cry, is to doubt a fit reply. The emmet's inch and eagle's mile make lame philosophy to smile. He who doubts from what he sees will ne'er believe, do what you please. If the sun and moon should doubt, they'd immediately go out. The prince's robes and beggar's rags are toadstools on the miser's bags. The beggar's rags fluttering in air does to rags the heavens tear. The poor man's farthing is worth more than all the gold on Afric's shore. One might wrung from the labourer's hand shall buy and sell the miser's lands, or, if protected from on high, does that whole nation sell and buy. The soldier, armed with sword and gun, palsied strikes the summer's sun. The strongest poison ever known came from Caesar's laurel crown. Naught can deform the human race like to the armour's iron brace. When gold and gems adorn the plough, to peaceful arts shall envy bow. To be in a passion you good may do, but no good if a passion is in you. The whore and gambler by the state licensed build that nation's fate. The harlot's cry from street to street shall weave old England's winding sheet. The winner's shout, the loser's curse, dance before dead England's hearse. Every night and every morn some to misery are born. Every morn and every night some are born to sweet delight. Some are born to sweet delight, some are born to endless night. We are led to believe a lie when we see not through the eye which was born in a night, to perish in a night when the soul slept in beams of light. God appears, and God is light to those poor souls who dwell in night, but does a human form display to those who dwell in realms of day. Whether on Ida's shady brow, or in the chambers of the east, the chambers of the sun that now from ancient melody have ceased, whether in heaven ye wander fair, or the green corners of the earth, or the blue regions of the air where the melodious winds have birth, whether on crystal rocks ye rove beneath the bosom of the sea, wandering in many a coral grove, fair Nine, forsaking poetry. How have you left the ancient love that bards of old enjoyed in you? The languid strings do scarcely move, the sound is forced, the notes are few. Oh, I say, you Joe, throw us the ball. I've a good mind to go and leave you all. I never saw such a bowler to bowl the ball in a tansy and to clean it with my handkerchief without saying a word. That Bill's a foolish fellow. He's given me a black eye. He doesn't know how to handle a bat any more than a dog or a cat. He's knocked down the wicket and broke the stumps, and runs without shoes to save his bumps. The maiden caught me in the wild when I was dancing merrily. She put me into her cabinet and locked me up with a golden key. This cabinet is formed of gold and pearl and crystal shining bright, and within it opens into a world and a little lovely moony night. Another England there I saw, another London with its tower, another Thames and other hills and another pleasant sunny bower. Another maiden, like herself, translucent, lovely, shining clear, threefold each in the other closed. Oh, what a pleasant, trembling fear. Oh, what a smile. A threefold smile filled me, that like a flame I burned. I bent to kiss the lovely maid, and found a threefold kiss returned. I strove to seize the inmost form with ardor fierce and hands of flame, but burst the crystal cabinet, and like a weeping babe became. A weeping babe upon the wild, and weeping woman pale reclined. And in the outward air again I filled with woes the passing wind. And did those feet in ancient time walk upon England's mountains green? And was the holy Lamb of God on England's pleasant pastures seen? And did the countenance divine shine forth upon our clouded hills? And was Jerusalem builded here among these dark satanic mills? Bring me my bow of burning gold. Bring me my arrows of desire. Bring me my spear, O clouds unfold. Bring me my chariot of fire. I will not cease from mental fight, nor shall my sword sleep in my hand, till we have built Jerusalem in England's green and pleasant land.
Well, wasn't that just amazing? Fantastic. Everything from Little Boy Lost to Tigers and a game of cricket. Yeah, the poems of poetry of William Blake. So if you like that, click on the little subscribe thing up in the corner. Subscribe to the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame YouTube channel and the little notifications bell so you get up notified when I put up some new poetry and you can watch it. Yeah, fantastic. All right. Well, I'm Thundercloud, washing away the garbage, leaving rainbows after rains. Everyone knows Mum calls me James. And don't forget to give this a thumbs up and leave a comment on what you'd like to hear. We'll see you later.